Hello. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Take another deep breath in and another breath out. You can open your eyes now. My name is David, and welcome to Mindful Moments. It's no longer January, but it is the first episode of 2025. So I have to say, Happy New Year. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I am very well, thank you. And I hope this year has started very well for you. As I said, it's February. It's taken a while to come back to this, but last year was such a topsy-turvy year, full of interruptions, and I really wanted, when I started the podcast again, for it to come at regular schedules, at regular intervals, and to go on a long run of episodes with regular episodes that you can expect and know that there'll be no changes to the schedule. So as always, thank you so much for your time and your care and your patience. And I want to underline that from this episode up until episode 60, there will be an episode every 2 weeks. Every Monday, every 2 weeks, there will be an episode up till episode 60. We are at episode 48. We're very close to episode 50. As those of you who have listened up to this point will know, every 10th episode, I do a Q&A. So in the comments of this video on YouTube, I don't know how you typically listen. You might be on a streaming platform, but on the YouTube video, I would love for you to comment any questions that you have, and I'll use those questions from this comment section in the Q&A episode, which will be episode 50. I will wait for questions up until the next episode, up until episode 49. But yeah, over the next 2 weeks, comment any questions that you would like on the YouTube video, and I'll pick some of those to answer for episode 50. Good. That's housekeeping announcements all out of the way. We're in a new year. I hope it started well, as I said. And I personally didn't have many New Year's resolutions. I think what I do tends to differ from year to year. Sometimes I'm in the place where I'm resolved to do something new as the new year comes around. Sometimes I don't really have anything at the time. The way I think of New Year's resolutions is like this. When you go to a friend's house and you come in the front door, they say, "Would you like anything? Would you like a drink? Would you like a cup of tea?" If I said, "Yes, thank you, I'd like a cup of tea," that would be great. It'll be convenient because we're both standing up. They've offered, they're ready to do it. I'm ready to drink it. But if I don't feel like a cup of tea, I'll just say no. Now, 2 hours later, we might be sitting, talking, and I might think, "Do you know what? A cup of tea would be really nice right now." But it's not the case that because I said no at the door, I'm not allowed a cup of tea now. I can just ask, "Can I have a cup of tea?" "Yeah, sure." Yep, the person will have to stand up and go and make it for me, but I'm sure they're happy to do that. And that's how I think of resolutions. It would be convenient to resolve myself to do something now because the calendar is turned over. It's the start of a new year. But sometimes I'm just not ready yet. Maybe I want a cup of tea in March. It's very easy to feel like we have to do something at the beginning of the year. But personally, when I make changes, I do them gradually because I want them to stick. And that's actually what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about changing, resolving ourselves to do new things, the fact that we could do that at any time, and how when we do change things, it's good to change them gradually because in my experience, the gradual changes are the ones that stick with us and keep us in the place that we want to be. I am an avid reader. I actually wrote my first book last year. Again, as you'll know if you've listened to this before. And especially since writing my book and my book coming out at the beginning of this year, I've been reading even more just because my head is in book world. Reading is my favorite. It's my favorite pastime. It's my favorite escape. The first month of this year, I think I've read more than I've even watched TV because I've just really enjoyed the quiet time and the reflection to myself. As I said, as I'm really warming up into this year. I didn't start this year ready to go and charging in and full of energy, which is absolutely fine, but also something I've had to very much navigate emotionally. And reading has brought me a lot of comfort in that time. So yeah, as I read, I love to read and I take very good care of the books that I read. And it's interesting. If Sometimes if I'm really enjoying a story and I really want the next thing to come, I will be flipping through the pages really quickly. But because I care about the book, I have to turn the pages carefully. Otherwise, I might tear them, I might damage them. Similarly, when I'm excited for what's going to happen next, I find myself reading really quickly and not taking in the information that's on the page I'm on, all in the pursuit of getting to the next page. And that feels like how we often approach change sometimes. When we're changing because we really want to, or we feel like we really need to, there's, I want to say the pressure, but not really the pressure. There's kind of the feeling that I need to change this thing now and I need to change it quickly. It needs to happen this very second because I want all the things that will come from this change right now. And often I find that when I approach changing like that, I will have a massive spike of activity and then come crashing back down because I can't maintain it. And it's been a lesson hard learned, but a lesson I've very much learned, that change, especially change you want to stay, has to be gradual. If I return to my little metaphor about the book, if I'm reading a book and I want the next page to come, the first thing I have to do is understand everything that's on the page I'm on right now. And the second thing I have to do is turn the page carefully so that I protect the pages of the book. And that's how I approach changing things in my own life. I try to reflect heavily on the place I'm in now and the reasons why I want to change in the first place and the things that I want to change. I try to think very hard about what my life looks like as it is and what I think those changes will bring me. And then as I change, I try to do it very gradually to make sure that whatever I change sticks and that I don't damage myself in the process. In terms of physical changes, activity, for example, I had a shoulder operation last year, which I've talked about. And it's been a long process of recovery. I'm 10 months into a 12-month recovery. And I've had to take the change and the gradual change and gradual increase of activity very carefully because I love physical activity. I love exercise. I love to move. I love to play sports. I love to do all of those things. Equally, I needed to give myself a lot of time to heal, and I needed to heal gradually and follow the physiotherapy program that was given to me. And as I was increasing activity, make sure I was taking care of myself, even though I was so excited to finally be doing things. I mean, after having my arm in a sling for 2 months, to even be able to move around and have range of motion in my shoulder feels fantastic. And I really want to just go back and do everything I was doing. If I were to do that too quickly, I'd injure myself. I might have a great week where I get to do everything I love to do, but I'd injure myself and crash back down to earth. It's really important that in every area in which we're trying to change, we do give ourselves that time. Sometimes I think about the reasons as well why I feel the need to rush change, or why when I want to change something, I want something that will bring me better results, why I want to rush the results. And I think it comes down to two things. I think one, it's a lack of patience. It's a sense of impatience, a lack of patience. That's not, it's not negative in nature. It's just, when you know what you want it to happen right then. There's a great, like, what is it? When Harry Met Sally, in the film When Harry Met Sally, one of the most romantic lines in film history, when he says to her, when you know who you want to spend the rest of your life with, you want the rest of your life to start right now. Super sweet, very romantic. Outside of a romantic setting, though, when you know what you want from your life and you know what you want from a situation, you want that thing as soon as you can imagine it. But there is still the gap between the imagining and the having. And in that gap, there needs to be a lot of patience and a lot of consideration because there's no way to skip this part. Especially when your vision of what you want is super clear, it feels like I can get here so quickly. I need to get here so quickly. I will get here so quickly. But you don't want to get here and then bounce back. You want to work towards it and stay there. And these are things that I'm constantly reminding myself of. Practicing patience is one of the things that will always be a constant work in progress for me because just by nature, I just get excited about things. I just want them. But yeah, it's important that we give ourselves that time and give ourselves that patience because, as I said before, when we push ourselves really hard, really quickly, it's very possible to have a massive spike, but everything that goes up this quickly will come down this quickly. it's better, far better in my experience, and it's far better for me. And I know this by now through experience. It's far better that I work towards something gradually, because that means I'll stay at that level when I arrive there, and I'll have the tools necessary to maintain that level. Even in terms of emotional things and in terms of emotional practices, I think for the last 2 or 3 years, I made a real concerted effort to try and enjoy winter more, because winter, typically, my mood really dips. I find it difficult when it's dark. When it's dark in the morning and dark in the evening, it gets dark really early and it's cold. And I struggle very hard. And the last few years, I've made a real effort to enjoy the winter a little bit more, or to at least try not to let it affect me so much. And it's only really this year that I felt generally, okay during winter. I haven't really had too many low days, but that's an active decision I made maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And the first year that I made that decision, I really, really did try to force it. And I was like, let's go to Christmas markets. I was kind of supercharging everything that I could possibly like about winter and trying to do all those things all the time to try and make myself enjoy it more. And now I've kind of realized it's more about sprinkling those things in over the time and accepting that I'm not going to enjoy 100% of it. But when I'm enjoying myself, it's good. We're in a good place. So yeah, I think whenever you want something to change, especially something that's fundamental about you or something you're so used to doing, impatience leads us to think things should be happening faster, or think that we should be pushing ourselves harder, when really the more time you take in care and in understanding of yourself, the longer you give yourself to make that change and to make change happen. As long as you're doing it with purpose, as long as it's not procrastination, it's genuine patience, and you are doing things with intention, giving yourself the time and space to make changes in your life is what means that when those changes do come, they'll stay, and you'll be able to maintain the level you get to, and you will get the full benefit of all the positive things that you knew would come when you were able to make those changes. Far better to have a gradual change that sticks than have a big spike that lasts short term and brings you crashing back down to earth. In the vast book of our lives, turning the pages carefully and taking the time to understand each page we're on before turning the pages does us a great deal of kindness and justice. That's really all for me today. I really hope that any changes you are making for yourself, you are giving yourself patience and time for. And I wish you all the wonderful things that will come from all those changes, because any work on ourselves is work worth doing. I always feel that life is work anyway. So I might as well work on myself, and I might as well work with intention and with purpose and know exactly where the work is going. Pouring into ourselves is a good thing. We just need to give ourselves patience and time to make sure that those changes stick and bring us everything that they should. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Whatever you're doing this week, I hope you have a wonderful one.